Hey guys, it's Lauren with Speechmakers. I am super excited to be back with a new resolution and a new season with all new content. So as most of you guys are starting to look at what camps you're going to be going to, or even starting your research and looking at the case ideas that you have, I want to go ahead and help you guys get started by giving you 5 things that you need to know about this season with the new resolution that the United States federal government should significantly reform its policy regarding convicted prisoners under federal jurisdiction. So let's go ahead and get started.
Many people think it's a bit
sitting right there. Raise your hand is Jennifer Granick.
It's well
director.
Number 1, federal jurisdiction can sometimes overlap with state jurisdiction. The resolution specifies that we are only looking at convicted prisoners under federal jurisdiction, which implies that it would be criminals that broke federal law and not those that broke state law. But here's the problem. Sometimes a crime can break both state and federal law, which means that it overlaps the two in what is called concurrent jurisdiction. So as a debater, your job is going to be to know what the difference between state and federal law is and where they overlap in concurrent jurisdiction. That way you can make sure you are arguing topical cases. Number 2, it is not just a domestic resolution. Even though this is a domestic resolution year, you will likely see a lot of play between domestic arguments and international arguments. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of debaters will probably be running arguments comparing the U.S. domestic criminal justice system to other nations abroad. So an affirmative team might propose a policy and then use their solvency as that same policy is provided or used and implemented in another nation and it was successful, which means that you don't just want to be well versed in the US's criminal justice system. You also want to be well versed in a wide variety of international criminal justice systems that specifically apply to the kind of cases that you might see this year. So make sure that you're not just learning about the US, but you also have at least a little bit of an understanding of international comparative criminal justice systems. Number 3, make sure that you know the types of crimes that are committed and how that plays into the criminal justice system. This resolution is largely going to be dealing with crimes after they have already been committed, in other words, the treatment of convicted prisoners. However, largely how you deal with those convicted prisoners is going to be influenced by the type of crime that was committed in the first place, which means that you need to know the pre-conviction as well as the post-conviction. So here are some quick stats for you. Majority of federal crimes are actually drug-related, 48.1%. The next majority is 19.1% with firearms. So what that means for you is that based on the types of crimes that are committed and people end up in federal jurisdiction prisons, that might influence how you're going to be passing policies on things like rehabilitation or halfway houses or capital punishment. So make sure you're well versed in what kind of prisoners end up in federal prisons and why they're there in the first place. Number 4, federal courts will probably come up in a debate round. While the resolution does mostly deal with the prison system after conviction in the federal court, there are still instances where the two systems are so tightly knit that you really can't separate them. For example, you might deal with situations of retrial of convicted prisoners. The prisoner has already been convicted, but he might be going to federal court, which means that your policy might actually be influenced by the federal court system more than the criminal justice system. So you need to make sure that you're not just well versed in the prisons, but you're also well versed in how the federal courts deal with federal prisoners when they go to retrial. And last but not least, number 5. Rehabilitation versus retribution is a debate that you are likely going to hear over and over again this year. The debate itself is very controversial and extends to many different policy and academic schools of thought, which means that you are going to be partaking in that this year. So you will need to know what types of rehabilitation are offered and the arguments in favor and against those types of rehabilitation. And you need to understand how those two factors, retribution and rehabilitation, play into recidivism rates. So become well versed on the topic, become a participant in it if you want, but make sure that you understand what the debate is about and how those different factors play into convicted prisoners under federal jurisdiction. So that's all 5 tips for you starting off, but I can't in this video without giving speechmakers at least a little plug. All the things that you just heard me talk about in all of the different questions, debates, controversies, policies that I just mentioned are things that we will be covering in our membership this season, which means I will break down all of those components into 20-minute videos to give you the background that you need to understand the resolution. That is why we are here. So if any of those things I said is interesting to you or you agree with me that you need to know them, then Speechmakers is the right place for you. Our membership has 3 different parts. 1, you'll get bi-weekly resolution videos explaining everything I just talked about. Number 2, you'll be receiving current event reports about the criminal justice system so that way you don't walk into a debate round and learn that you missed a vital piece of the news. And number 3, I have created a specific algorithm just for NCFCAers to have a constantly rotating newsfeed that only deals with the resolution. So you can log on and get the information you need quick and easy without having to do the work yourself. So make sure that you sign up soon so you're able to get all of the information I just shared, as well as so much more from August all the way to April. To join the community, all you have to do is go to www.speechmakers.co/memberships. Super straightforward. You can just sign up and then log onto your private portal with the membership website on the member feed. So that is it for now. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and so best of luck on this season, and I will see you soon.